Hi! Today, I'm gonna walk you through the long, weird, and kind of disgusting history of how Gubby from Roblox went from this to this.
Did you do your chores, you prick?
Yes, Sirski.
When I get home, it better be clean. Boy, why did you lie to me?
So, as you can probably guess, we have a lot of ground to cover here. Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between, strap in. This is a story about the creation of a Roblox icon, their fall into irony, the rise and fall of the worst AI video app ever, two content creators from completely different sides of the internet being brought together, and how the hell this became the fate of Gubby. There's going to be a lot of detours along the way. At points you'll probably be wondering if this video is even about Gubby anymore. But trust me, it will all come together by the end. So, how about we start with a brief history lesson about Gubby, because what the hell even is Gubby anyway? To some of you, the answer to this question might be obvious, but I'm also sure a lot of you are in the same boat I was in before I did research for this video, which is to say, I had zero clue what the hell Gubby was, other than I knew what it looked like, and I knew it had something to do with the Roblox game Forsaken. And I mean, that's kind of the basics of everything if you boil it down, but the full history is both a little more complex and a little more interesting than you might think. Regardless, I'll keep this brief. We obviously have, more pressing matters to attend to. So, how did this all start? Well, it all goes back to 2015. When a Roblox game called Dream Game was released. Dream Game, also known as Frozen Soul, is basically a Roblox take on the game uhyeah, which is funny because that game is actually going to be relevant to this video in a completely different way later. If you're unaware of what uhyeah is, it's a 2004 indie game where you play as a girl named Madatsuki and explore her dreams. You walk around these surreal environments, and that's the extent of the gameplay. It's a very unique experience. uhyeah itself is very similar to an even older game called LSD Dream Simulator, which was released for the original PlayStation. As you could probably guess, LSD is essentially the same idea as uhyeah, except the environments you explore are in first-person 3D. This takes us back to Dream Game, which is also essentially the same as both of these games, just with its own twists on the format, and it's also in Roblox, duh. Dream Game has various entities that can spawn on the different in-game maps, and for this video, we're only interested in one group of these, the bunnies. As you can see, the Dream Game bunnies look very similar to Gubby, just, you know, without a body. The same basic idea is here though, being a white Roblox head with slanted wedge ears. I'm a big fan of these guys. They look very stupid in the best way possible. And even though they are literally just a Roblox head with bunny ears, they honestly do a really good job at being an abstract interpretation of what an actual bunny looks like. Like, if you were to take a picture of a white bunny and squint at it, it would probably look pretty similar to this thing, which honestly fits the vibes of Dream Game quite well. All that looking into this game has made me realize is that I need to sit down and actually play this game at some point. Because please, tell me what the fuck the bunny sphere is. Genuinely, what goes down in this game? Oh yeah, the bunnies can also become feral, apparently, which turns them from passive entities to aggressive ones. The way this is displayed in-game is literally just making them fucked up and evil, which, you know what, that's great. Now that we've gone over Dream Game, we have to bring our attention over to a different Roblox game, Bear. I know even less about this one than Dream Game, but it's also not directly related to the story. For the sake of being thorough though, Bear is a multiplayer game where one person plays as the bear, and everyone else tries to hide from them. I'm gonna be so real, for some reason I know way more about a ripoff of this game called You vs. Homer, which is actually just really sad on my part. Like, I've never even played that game, but for some reason my TikTok algorithm started shilling me drama videos about it for like a month straight. I hope that Valentine's Day update came out because I have literally no idea if it did. Speaking of Bear fan games, they actually do directly tie into the creation of Gubby. Two individuals by the name of Anonym and Misaki were working on a Bear fan game. This fan game never ended up seeing the light of day, but one specific asset created for it was released to the public for use across Roblox. That asset? The Gubby model. That's right, the origin of Gubby is a character model created for a scrapped Bear fan game that is directly inspired by the bunnies from Dream Game. There are obviously many changes from the Dream Game bunnies, but the basic idea of the design is basically the exact same. The big differences are the head and face being changed to the roundy and mysterious ones from Roblox. And they also have a whole ass body now. Okay, this is where things get kind of confusing from my perspective. I'm coming into this after over a year of random drama, deleted accounts, and other events that have made researching this a little confusing. But I think I've mainly pieced things together. After Gubby was uploaded to Roblox, the model would gain popularity among the community. The creation of Gubby coincided with a wave of old Roblox nostalgia, which I think was just the perfect storm for something like Gubby to thrive and spread around. This popularity eventually led to someone who worked on Forsaken at the time to post this meme of Gubby being a dev killer in the game. Forsaken is a popular asymmetrical horror game on Roblox that's very similar to something like Dead by Daylight, but based on old Roblox stuff rather than horror icons. It's also something I've basically ignored the entire time it's existed. Listen, I'm sure it's maybe a good game, but I have literally only ever heard about it in the context of drama and controversy, so I'm good. Like Dead by Daylight, Forsaken has both normal survivor players and killers. So, that meme is proposing the idea of Gubby being a playable killer character in the game. With a shotgun for some reason? Wait, shotgun? Is this a granny reference, guys? Wait, is this a freaking granny reference? Anyway, this actually ended up happening, and Gubby was added to Forsaken as a developer-only killer. I think you could use them on VIP private servers as well, so anyone could use Gubby if they really wanted to. Gubby could both bite players and shoot them with a gun. Sadly, the shotgun didn't make the cut, but they got a revolver instead. The animation for this genuinely fries me. They literally stand the fuck up for the attack. Like, sure dude, I guess Gubby can do that, whatever. Eventually, after a bunch of controversy with Forsaken, the original creators of the character requested that they be removed from the game, which happened shortly after. The Gubby moveset wasn't completely removed, however, as they were model swapped with a new character called Cat, that is basically just Gubby as a cat. That's essentially the extent of Forsaken's involvement with the history of Gubby. But the popularity of the character received both from Forsaken and outside of Forsaken all around the same time basically turned Gubby into a Roblox household name. At this point, there were thousands of variants of Gubby, multiple Gubby games, and tons of video content created about the character across both YouTube and TikTok. If you were in Roblox circles at this time, it was hard to escape Gubby. This level of Gubby saturation eventually led to the most predictable outcome of all time, the Gubby switch up. As usual, once something becomes too popular for too long, both people who originally liked the thing and people who always hated it come together to make fun of it in the most irony-poisoned way possible. It didn't help that this was around the same time Gubby was being used in content farm videos for kids on YouTube. And the Gubby song was making the rounds, which we'll talk about a bit later, so put a pin in that. This ironic downfall era of Gubby is basically where things were at for a while, but eventually, something would happen that would change the course of Gubby history forever. But before we can talk about that, we have something else to talk about. Remember when I mentioned this video is gonna have crazy detours? Well, it's time for that. Let's talk about IDKSterling, real name Sterling Gordon Fournier, is a content creator who's mainly popular on TikTok. He's had many accounts over the years, but his main account is used to make somewhat educational content. The format of his main content is him playing various different clips of random stuff, then cutting in afterwards to try to explain what was happening in said clip. The actual educational parts of these videos aren't really that noteworthy here, but what is noteworthy is the format in which these clips are introduced. For one, the TTS voice he uses is always funny. It's like some old man's voice that sounds extremely confused. This mixed with the random ass Santa laugh he always plays after the TTS for some reason has led to people saying that the real Santa Claus himself is the one doing the introductions for these videos.
Whatever you do, don't drive under it.
Ho, ho, ho! Now I know, if you were stuck behind this, you might have the intrusive thought to drive right under it and get on your way.
I'm gonna be real, that thought never even crossed my mind slightly, like not even a little bit. Over time, there would be different sound effects introduced into these intros, which created its own bizarre subgenre of people who would try and put meaning to all of them. The one I remember the most is the stupid fucking pufferfish sound effect. I don't know why, but he used that one a lot. But more importantly than any of the stuff I've already talked about, is the song that IDKSterling uses in these videos. It's a little track called The Shanty Village, from a little game called Yume Nikki. See, I told you it'd be relevant again later. If you look at the comments for any upload of this song on YouTube, it is like 90% people talking about IDKSterling. So I hope that puts into perspective just how much this song is associated with him. I think I played a little bit of Yume Nikki years ago, but I'm honestly terrified to pick it up again, because whenever I get to the part of the game where this goddamn song plays, I'm literally only going to be able to think about Santa Claus, that stupid ass pufferfish, and IDKSterling. And I don't know if I'm ready for that experience yet, I'm gonna be real. Anyway, these videos that IDKSterling was making got very popular, and this popularity eventually led to people making memes about him. These came in many forms, but the ones that really kicked all of this off were both the Vigil AI memes and the Ops versus Ally war. Vigil AI is a popular service you've probably seen used in a million memes over the last few years. It lets anyone take a picture of a person or character and mask them over the movements of any video clip you want. Also, I would just like to add, this might be the single worst landing page for any website ever. My god. What do they think people are using Vigil AI for? Seriously. You're about to see after this what examples I have, and that will put into context how insane this landing page is. Like, what are we doing? When Vigil AI was first getting popular, one of the first big memes to utilize it on TikTok was the Saints meme, which I don't even want to bother trying to explain here, but all you need to know is that Joe Bartolozzi, Ray William Johnson, and IDKSterling were the focus of the joke, and they were being vigiled over this dancing video. Eventually, this specific meme would die off, but for some reason, a subculture started to grow around making these videos about IDKSterling specifically, probably because he would make videos responding to them on his alt account called IDKSterling FN. This account was originally supposed to be used for Fortnite content as the username suggests, but that ended up being very short-lived, and the account slowly just became a platform for him to react to videos made about him. This then led to the Ops versus Allies war, which was this whole thing where the people making memes about IDKSterling were split into the categories of Ops and Allies, depending on if the memes they were making were in support of him or against him. This whole thing was basically just one big joke that the IDKSterling community was in on, and I don't think any of the main Ops he reacted to often actually hated him in any way. The whole thing was in good fun. This went on for quite a while, with Sterling reacting to both Vigil AI videos about him, as well as other more creative edits. There were other community jokes that spawned from this, but most of them aren't relevant for this video. Notice how I said most, because one joke in particular, while starting out quite harmless, ended up creating one of the worst genres of AI videos ever. I'm serious, by the way. Things are about to get really weird and really gross. But before we can get into that, we first have to talk about the vehicle that made these insane videos possible in the first place. Forget Vigil AI, that's old and boring. Now it's time for Sora AI. Remember Sora AI? You probably try not to, but it sure did exist. It was OpenAI's attempt at creating their own AI video generation platform. That was kind of like TikTok in a way, I think. Like you could scroll on it endlessly and watch AI videos. So kind of what TikTok is now, except it was 100% AI generated content instead of like 50%. So basically, it was the worst app ever made. If you remember anything from Sora from when it was relevant, it was probably one of two things. The first notable thing that happened is the day it was released, it had 0 copyright filters, which led to everybody generating random fake clips from cartoons and movies. This lasted like 24 hours before they turned all the filters on, but I am almost 100% sure this was done as a slimy ass marketing tactic for the app, which worked for like 2 days until everyone realized they couldn't generate SpongeBob swearing anymore and fucked off. The other notable thing that happened with Sora when it was released was the AI Jake Paul videos. One of the main selling points of the app was content creators could give the platform permission to use their likeness, and then anyone could go on there and generate any video they wanted using them. Jake Paul was one of these people, and everyone just took the opportunity to make videos of him acting feminine and doing makeup tutorials. But then it was revealed that Jake Paul was in business with OpenAI the entire time, and was financially profiting off of all of this. So, that's nice. Yeah, like I said, worst app ever fucking made.
He was whipping up wrath and evilness in the kettle. That's wrath. Actual evilness and wrath in a kettle.
Now, not everybody who gave away their likeness to Sora was paid for it, of course. Some people just did it for the love of the game. One of these people, surprise, surprise, was IDKSterling. I'm sure he thought people were just gonna use Sora as a fun new tool, quote unquote, to make normal op content he typically reacted to. But I'm not even joking when I say this may have been the worst mistake he's ever made in his entire life. The things that would come out of this are genuinely insane. But before we can get into that, we first have to talk about the community joke I mentioned earlier. For some reason, one of the most popular IDKSterling jokes is about him rubbing himself in peanut butter. This originates from an op video by the biggest IDKSterling op, Cole the Hammer, but it eventually snowballed into being used by basically all of the ops in the community. I'd go more in depth about the specifics of the joke, but I'm gonna be real, I don't really want to say the words that would be required to describe that. Listen, it doesn't matter. All you need to know is the concept of peanut butter and rubbing peanut butter on things became one of the most popular IDKSterling community memes. This, as most things, started out fairly tame, all things considered. But the second that Sora AI was released and became an option to the world, all hell broke loose. Almost right away, the worst people imaginable started making videos with IDKSterling doing the most disgusting shit ever. They would make him gain hundreds of pounds, cover him in peanut butter, make him shit out peanut butter, and turn him into grotesque monsters that were also covered in peanut butter. I don't even know how much of this stuff I'm going to even show in this video. Like, it's genuinely so bad that I'll probably either have to be very careful or censor most of it. Like, let's not even beat around the bush here. This shit is literally fetish content through and through. Some of the videos are even tagged with stuff like, gee, I sure do wonder what the peanut butter is supposed to represent in this clip. The most annoying part of all of this is I can't even feel bad for IDKSterling here, because he kept reacting to these videos. Eventually he would stop, but for months there are countless videos of him watching his AI self performing the most disgusting shit, which only made people want to generate even more videos for the chance of being reacted to. The whole thing was a disgusting, vicious cycle of the worst AI videos ever. After a few months of this, the general public's perception and usage of Sora AI was completely down the drain. But don't you worry, the IDKSterling actual ops, as I'll call them, were still kicking. After so long though, the constant peanut butter videos were beginning to get stale for them. So the meta shifted to something completely different. IDKSterling amusement parks. I'm going to describe what these videos are to you, and it's going to sound completely insane, so prepare yourself. The IDKSterling amusement parks were a bunch of different TikTok accounts all LARPing as different amusement parks. These amusement parks were run by AI-generated versions of IDKSterling, except he was always significantly fatter and sometimes in a mobility scooter. The premise of these is that this fat version of IDKSterling was the park mascot for all these different parks. The actual specifics of these videos varied from account to account, but that's the basic rundown of the trend. As you could probably guess, these videos are also terrible. Some still featured the same old peanut butter stuff, but others were weird and creepy in completely new directions. For instance, we have Einstein's Island, one of the most popular amusement park accounts. The entire joke of this account is that the AI-generated theme park is based on Epstein's Island. So you can probably piece together the level of shit we're dealing with here. All of these videos are gross and unfunny, and it's extremely fitting that this content was coincidentally being released just before Sora would finally shut down for good. I would not even be surprised if OpenAI saw that nobody was using their app except for actual freaks and just decided to pull the plug, thus ending one of the most expensive business failures ever, probably. In the very short period where Sora was announced to be dead but the app was still up, it was extremely funny seeing these amusement park accounts freak out and not know what to do. Like, oh no, I can't make my actual pig slop anymore. Oh my god, it's actually over. Like, fuck you, dude, thank god. So, with the death of Sora, the death of all those terrible IDKSterling videos came with it. For a while, it seemed like things were finally back to normal. But that wouldn't last for long. You know what they say about a Hydra? When you cut one head off, more come back with a vengeance. In April of 2026, TikTok would slowly but surely roll out their own in-house AI video generator called AI Cast, which is Literally just Sora again. The moment of peace was cut short, because as soon as AI Cast was rolled out to all of TikTok over the following months, things went back to how they were in the Sora era, which includes even more IDKSterling peanut butter videos, because of fucking course it does! This new batch of peanut butter videos are the exact same as the Sora batch, but now there's a stronger emphasis on trying to work around the censors to make IDKSterling say swear words and other inappropriate shit. The main thing here is people trying to make him say dildo for some reason, which has led to a million videos of strange peanut butter monster versions of IDKSterling saying deal-do, which will be relevant to the Gubby stuff later. Somehow.
Gabe Horn. Dildo, stack it high. Scoops of peanut butter passing by. Scooter rolling fast and free. That pickle's waiting charge wants a tree, my tree.
Speaking of Gubby, there's someone else that's usable in these AI cast videos that slowly but surely started to be shelled into them. This, my friends, is where everything comes together. It's time to talk about Kreekcraft. You all know Kreekcraft, right? The Roblox guy with the hat and the hair. Last time I briefly talked about him, he was crying over the death of Tung 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 Sahor and Steeler Brainrot. That is to say that Kreekcraft is a bit of a clip farmer. A really good clip farmer, actually. And nowhere is that more clear than his playthrough of Deltarune. He recently played through all the chapters on stream, and the moments to come out of it are truly something else.
Bro, I don't remember any of this.
Chris is non-binary, so they aren't she or he. Keep that in mind, please.
Wait, which one's Chris?
It's funny too, because he's actually like really good at the game. He beat the knight relatively fast for someone who's supposedly never played that fight before. He did play the first 2 chapters ages ago before all of this, so who knows, maybe the clip farming goes even deeper than people think. Although I think the actual answer is he's just a fucking gamer. Anyway, you're probably wondering why I'm talking about any of this. What does Kreekcraft playing Deltarune have to do with Gubby? Well, it actually has everything to do with Gubby, surprisingly. We have to rewind a bit to June 9th of this year, which was the date of the summer Nintendo Direct. It's the one where they announced the Ocarina of Time remake, and more importantly, Switch Sports thumb wrestling. I had completely forgotten this was even announced until the Rizzler played it at some event recently, so yeah, shout out to the Rizzler, I guess. There was one particular announcement at this Nintendo Direct that's important for this video, and that would be the announcement trailer for Deltarune Chapter 5. It's a fairly normal Deltarune trailer, but the part we need to focus on is at the very beginning, when the Toby Fox / annoying dog mascot suit comes out of the ground. Some people saw this part before the mascot suit was revealed and thought it was going to be a Pikmin game. Some saw right through the facade and knew it was Deltarune. But Kreekcraft, he had something else in mind.
What is this? Is that a Gubby?
Is that a Gubby?
This clip, this one simple clip, not only started the entire Kreekcraft Deltarune LARPer arc, but it also, without anyone realizing it, put the final piece of the puzzle into place for both Gubby and Kreekcraft to take over the IDKSterling AI Slop universe. So, now that you have the full backstory to all of this, it's time to see how AI Gubby was really born. Kreekcraft, for one reason or another, slowly started to be included in all the AI Cast IDKSterling videos. Now, Kreekcraft isn't a stranger to being a popular meme or joke on TikTok, so these two worlds colliding isn't completely out of left field. This went on for a bit, but after the Is That a Gubby clip blew up, the AI Cast videos featuring Kreekcraft started to change. The most obvious change, of course, being the inclusion of the creature we will dub AI Cast Gubby. One of the main features of AI Cast is the ability to include reference images for things you want to put in whatever video you're making. People started using this feature to add strange, hyper-realistic versions of Gubby to the AI Cast videos with Kreekcraft. The depiction of Gubby in these videos actually varies quite a bit. The most common appearance is this one here, which for some reason I have a screenshot of its creation. I don't even remember where I found this anymore, I'm gonna be real. I think this shit just spawned in my camera roll. This version of Gubby is by far the closest to being Gubby in real life, so it makes sense why it's the most popular. The other popular depiction of Gubby for these videos is this slightly less accurate version that looks more like some kind of actual animal. Every goddamn comment section with this version is just people going, wait, Gubby's actually so cute though, which like, Sure, I guess, dude. Finally, we have the not Gubbies, which is when the individual generating the AI cast video, a brain-dead easy task already, is too lazy to find an image of Gubby to use for the generator. So we just have this collection of strange creatures that are the product of an AI trying its best to produce what it thinks Gubby is supposed to look like based on the prompt, leading to some mixed results. At this point, you're probably wondering what the hell the videos featuring these AI cast Gubbies even are. So I'll try my best to explain them. But just a fair warning, like that amusement park shit from earlier, I am going to sound insane here. All of these videos have their own strange individual quirks, as you can probably infer, and a lot of them feature random jokes from IDKSterling stuff. But here is the boiled down, basic explanation of a normal AI cast Gubby video. We start off with Kreekcraft and Gubby in some random setting. This varies way too much from video to video, so just assume these videos could happen anywhere. Kreekcraft, looking at the Gubby, will then say his iconic line, "Is that a Gubby?"
Is that a Gooby?
Gubby!
The Gubby in question will then break out into song and dance, as they sang the iconic Gubby song I mentioned earlier. This is a song that was popular to shit on during the Gubby irony era, so I'm not surprised it found its way into basically every single one of these videos. Kreekcraft will then usually end off the videos by saying, "And now the Gooby's going ham," which is just a lyric from the Gubby song.
Now the Gooby is going ham.
Oh yeah, the AI cast generator has a really hard time saying Gubby for some reason, so basically every single one of these videos calls them Gooby or Gobby and maybe sometimes Gubby, and that's it. That's the basic script for all of these videos. You're probably thinking, wow, that sounds kind of simple and boring. Surely there couldn't be thousands upon thousands of videos with the exact same premise, and you know what? I wish you were right, but that is genuinely the extent of this meme. This went on for a while, but eventually, people grew bored of this specific AI cast format. You'd think that the meme would just die here as most do, but it instead went into a bit of an experimental period where people were just generating anything with IDKSterling, Kreekcraft, and Gubby. The most notable thing to come out of this is the multiple videos of these various characters reenacting the Deltarune Chapter 5 Weird Route Lake scene, which I guess makes sense considering the origin of all of this, but like, what are we even doing?
Kreek, you've changed. Don't you want to see the other side of the lake?
This only lasted for so long, however, as the next evolution of AI cast Gubby content was finally ready to rear its ugly head. Whether it be a mix of people getting sick of these videos showing up on their feed, or the people generating them slowly losing their minds, the universe had decided that Gubby had had it too good for too long. So after all of this, we're finally here. It's time to talk about... Now that you have all of the context on how we got here, you can truly appreciate the utter madness that is the AI cast Gubby gore videos. Now, I want you to put yourself in my shoes for just a second. I had been seeing basically all of this unravel in real time, and at this point, I was completely sick of it. For some reason, this shit would just not leave my feed, even if I skipped each and every one. One random day, after weeks of this, yet another Gubby video showed up on my For You page. However, this one was different. I immediately noticed that the script differed from the typical Gubby videos, now pulling from a completely unrelated meme that I'll talk about later. Because of this, I decided to watch the short video, expecting a different take on pretty much the same thing as all the other ones. Then, with no warning, this happened.
This fucking place better be fucking clean when I get back. I made it.
Huh, you didn't lie to me.
Too bad I don't care.
Needless to say, I immediately started doing research and quickly discovered that Gubby gore had become an entirely new subgenre of AI cast Gubby videos. Just like the original batch of AI Gubby videos, these also follow a somewhat consistent formula, so let's break it down. These videos always start with Kreekcraft asking Gubby, "Did you do your chores?" To which Gubby responds, "Yes, sirski." This originates from a completely unrelated meme that just so happened to be popular at the same time these videos were created. I don't think there's any correlation outside of that. Kreekcraft will then leave whatever house or apartment he and Gubby are in while saying, "When I get back, it better be clean." The videos then cut to a sped up clip of Gubby cleaning the house, only for Kreekcraft to return and do this. The ways in which Gubby dies in these videos are all over the place. Sometimes it's super tame and other times it's genuinely the most gruesome shit you've ever seen in your entire life, and there's basically no in between. You're probably wondering how people are generating these in the first place. You'd think there'd be sensors or something to prevent this from even happening. And there actually is sensors. You can't tell IDKSterling to make Gubby spew blood after being ripped in half. You can, however, tell it to make Gubby spew other similar looking red liquids, which has led to some very funny shit, like some of the blood in these videos literally just being tomato sauce. These videos got so popular that variants started to be created, such as ones where Kreekcraft and Gubby have reversed roles, and the even more popular bait and switch variants where Kreekcraft does not brutally murder Gubby and instead does something wholesome. But yeah, that's basically the extent of everything here. This trend lasted a few weeks, but eventually things started to die down again, and IDKSterling Gubby content became less mainstream and more niche. A few other things have happened since the gore videos, such as this Lucky Charms meme that I genuinely refuse to even research, and just recently there was some widespread scare that IDKSterling was being shut down, which led to a bunch of videos of Kreekcraft, IDKSterling, and Gubby saying their goodbyes to the world. As far as I can tell, this is not the case, but I would not be shocked at all if IDKSterling did actually shut down within like a few months. I refuse to believe running this is profitable in any way, but who knows what the future holds. Let's just hope it involves less peanut butter, fake blood, and Gubby murder. Well, there you have it, everyone. The complete story of how Gubby went from being an innocent Roblox bunny to being brutally ripped in half in AI hell. Tune in next time when I talk about Verity. It's obviously going to be Verity. Subscribe and I'll see you then.